Scott Spears with you on a Thursday, April the 21st, 2011, on The Exchange. Today joined by my good pals Charlie Evers, Fritz the Night Owl, George Casotis sitting in for Marianne Michaels. George, you remembered the song from yesterday. What was it? About Marianne?
Oh, sitting by the seaside sifting sand. Hey there, Marianne.
Don't call me Marianne. She's not here this week. And of course, we've got Brenda Donegan, formerly of the Marion Star, and joined today by the mayor of the city of Marion, Scott Schertzer. Thank you, Mayor, for being here. Before we do anything else, we do need to recognize our sponsors. Today, The Exchange is brought to you by Peacock Water Conditioning. Water experts since 1953. 1800 Marion Marysville Road, right here in Marion. For further information, dial 740-387-6312. The Ohio Neck and Back Pain Relief Center, Scott M. Gray, D.C., across from the Marion Center between TSC and Kroger. For further information, dial 740-386-6580. And by Night Owl Theater, located on the net at www.fritzlives.com. For further information, email nightowltv@yahoo.com, and that's NITEOWLTV@yahoo.com. As we do each and every day, we're going to start it off on this Thursday with This Day in History by Charlie Evers.
Yes, this day was interesting in World War I in the fact that the famous Red Baron, that's Manfred von Richthofen, was shot down and he was killed during the war there. He was credited with 80 kills in less than 2 years. He flew a Red Fokker airplane. This was one with 3 wings. British pilots later recovered his body and buried him with full military honors.
What was the Red Baron's name?
Baron von Richten.
Richten.
Yes.
Baron von Richten. There you go. We're going to move on in our program.
They named a pizza after him, by the way.
Did they? The Red Baron? How is it?
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah.
Maybe they'll deliver about 20 of them to your house.
Well,
is it one of those microwave pizzas?
I don't like microwave pizzas.
Wait a minute, what year was that?
1918.
That wasn't called pizzas then, they were called tomato pies.
Oh, tomato pies?
Yeah.
And before that, they were cow pies.
Yeah.
I don't think he invented them in 1918, did he? The pizzas came later.
Yeah, right.
No, pizzas came in the 1970s.
They even named a movie after his airplane.
Yeah, but they made them in Italy called tomato pies.
But he wasn't making them in Italy in 1918.
Oh, okay.
If you can follow any of this, you let me know. We're going to move on because we've got a guy here who can tell you a great movie that you might want to see tonight. It's Fritz the Night Owl with the Flick Pick.
Well, we're going to take you back to 1972, take you behind the scenes of California politics, a senatorial campaign in which a well-respected incumbent faces off against a young, aggressive, idealistic lawyer. Movie is called The Candidate. Got 3 stars from all the critics, 3 out of 4. Stars are Robert Redford, Peter Boyle, and Don Porter. And you can guess who the idealistic one-time lawyer candidate is. 'Tis Robert Redford. Movie is interesting in that it shows that really politics and the behind-the-scenes stuff and the influences really haven't changed that much from the 1972 when this was made to the 21st century of today. Things are still pretty much the same way as depicted in this movie, which is in a way, it's a political satire, but there's also a degree of almost realistic documentary style in it. You'll see 5 then senators, 2 of whom went on to run for presidents, appear as themselves in the film. There's Hubert Humphrey and George McGovern are in the movie, as is Natalie Wood, Howard K. Smith, and many other politicians. A good look behind the scenes of what goes on in politics. Of course, Redford is the idealistic candidate, and he's reluctant, doesn't want to run against this incumbent, but when they tell him, look, you can say what you want regardless of what the party politics are, you say what you believe, and Redford says, okay, if you will let me say what I want and not be critical, not jump on my thing and say, you can't say that. So he runs, and of course this very candid candor that he's got is at first very, very popular with the people, but then again sort of a dark horse rumor surfaces to possibly unhorse him. So if you're interested in political drama, good acting, good performances, and again, something that's going to tie in with the current political scene, take a look at The Candidate, movie from 1972. Robert Redford is the candidate. Maybe Robert will run for something this time around.
I saw him the other night on CNN talking about a new movie that he has out. He's a very accomplished movie maker, not just an actor.
Well, like Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, he's really got that both sides of the fence thing
Right.
going. Great guy. Hold on. Before we do that, this is the last time I'm going to bring this up this week, but we got the mayor, a new guest here, so I want to ask him, where's the pants that were on the wall at Depot Sales? You remember the pants?
I do remember the pants as a
Okay.
kid, and it's an interesting question. I wish I knew where they were, but I think I saw Bob's Big Boy wearing them in town
Did you?
recently, so they're still around.
Can we get the police department on this?
Well, you know, the police department's awful busy right now,
They're awful. We'll have to find our own big pants off the wall. Marion, town of big pants. There you go. Each and every Thursday here on The Exchange, we bring in our good pal Brenda Donegan, and she tells you of a place in Ohio that you might want to visit and gives you a little background on some of the people in Ohio from those places. Brenda.
Well, today I thought with the price of gas still pretty high up there, around $4 a gallon, that we would stay a little closer to home, and we'll just travel south to Union County. And down there, I took my residence down there last year. This was kind of a hidden secret, but it's called Animals by Arleta. And this woman was 70 years old when she decided to open this museum. She has two older sisters. She's now in her 80s. She has two older sisters who have come in and helped her put this museum together. It has 105 life-size animals in it. They're faux fur, all handmade. And she will be very quick to tell you that they're not stuffed, but that they're made of wood and foam and fabric. They're very lifelike. And she began making them because she wanted to make a rocking horse for one of her granddaughters, one of her first grandchildren. And she sat down and studied it and studied it and studied it. She uses no patterns. She just kind of goes by memory or does a lot of research as to what the animal should look like, and then gets out her hammer, and she uses milk jugs and 2x4s and everything that she can find and begins to craft it. As I said, she has 105 now. Her two older sisters when they decided to move it from her garage into a museum, went in and painted this jungle scene. And they have trees with lights and little bushes and just everything that you could imagine in a jungle. She has everything from a 20-foot giraffe to baby lambs to alpacas to doggies, everything in between, monkeys, snakes, very lifelike. So I took my Primrose residence down there for an outing, one of our day trips, and we decided to eat lunch because she will also offer lunch for you. And along the side of the museum are little round tables where you can sit and have your lunch, and the ambiance is what is so neat about it because of all the lights and the drama on the wall and just seeing the animals. And as you sit there and look at them, it's like the animals are really staring at you. It's just amazing what she's done. And for a while she did sell some of her animals, but she quit doing that. She's just put them all in the museum now. And if you would be interested, her name is Arlene Bowersmith, and she can be reached at 937-642-5140. And she only takes you by appointment, so you can't just go down and knock on the door and get in. But wonderful place for children, older adults, families of all sizes, close by, very affordable. We had lunch and toured the museum for $10, and you can't go to too many places and do that. Also, when you go to Union County, you can cover the county and see their 4 covered bridges. A lot of history there. You can get a map from the Union County Visitors Bureau, and they'll tell you exactly which road to turn on and give you a brief history of all of that. And of course, you can't go to Union County without going to Der Dutchman to eat.
Oh,
Right?
that's right.
Yep. You got to eat when you go on these day trips. You got to eat somewhere. So you eat lunch at Arleta's. You do the covered wagon tours, and then you go on to Plain City, because one of them is close to Plain City. So you go on to Plain City and eat at the Der Dutchman, and before you leave, you bring home a pie. So, or something from their wonderful bakery.
Blueberry. That's my favorite.
That's your favorite? Well,
That's my favorite.
I like their old-fashioned sugar cream. So, but they have a lot of Amish gifts and memorabilia also in their gift shop. They have a wonderful gift shop. So close by, Union County, half-hour drive, maybe 45 to 50 minutes at the most to Plain City and back to Marion. Hope you have fun with your day trip. Have any other questions, any comments you want to make to me, please give me a call, and we'll see what we could do.
You know, my first trip to Der Dutchman happened about, a long time ago now, 20 years ago probably. And when you go in, you think I thought, when you hear the word Amish restaurant, if you're a young kid, you probably think something different. Delicious, wonderful food, beautiful atmosphere, and it's grown in the last 20 years. Been there, Charlie?
Many times, yes.
What do you enjoy?
Well, there's
Sitting in the carriage.
the main thing is roast beef and mashed potatoes.
Homemade.
Oh, yes.
With one of those pumps.
Pumps?
The butter churns.
Oh, I never tried one of those.
You never, you get the butter from the churn.
Oh, you do? Oh, you mean a
I don't
buttered
know.
churn? Oh, yes. You won't find an Amishman anymore churning butter.
I'm going to talk to George from now on. George, tell me about, have you ever had butter from a buttered churn?
Oh, sure.
He probably grew up with one.
Many times.
Were people out churning butter in your yard, George,
No.
when you were a child?
Joanne's mother and father had a farm, and they churned their butter. They milked their cows. They had Ayrshires, and I milked the goats. They milked the cows, but they churned their butter. They sold butter from their farm.
Do you eat at Der Dutchman a lot?
I've been there quite a few times, but not hundreds of times, but a few times. And what do you go to Delaware? Take 42, right? 42.
Right.
Right down to Der Dutchman. You're going down to Plain City.
I like when you give us directions. I think that's good. You did that earlier on in the week.
Get to Elgin High School.
You told
go
us how to get to
Campbell
Elgin.
Road,
Now we know how to get to
Der Dutchman.
Dutchman.
And there's a restaurant across the road from them owned by the same people.
Oh, yeah, I know that. But there's one up this way. As you get out of Delaware on 42, there's called a Red Brick Tavern. Have you ever heard of that?
No. But I used to bicycle to Plain City to eat cinnamon buns or rolls all the way from Marion.
Doesn't that defeat the biking?
Well,
You go and eat the cinnamon rolls?
I suppose it does. But
I
boy,
mean,
they were good.
You can go to Der Dutchman many times, but on the way to Der Dutchman, there's a place called Red Brick Tavern. It's owned by a family that came from Caledonia, Ohio, the Freet family.
Caledonia?
Yeah, they came, the Freet family, F-R-E-E-T.
Freet?
Freet.
Freaked.
Freet. And Jean passed away, but the wife is still there, and they have delicious food. It's just a small.
I'm going to get you a job with GPS. What do you think? You'd be good, wouldn't you? Turn right, turn left.
Oh, sure. I
Dream
can
job.
tell you
Yeah.
where to go.
Mayor.
And if you can't find, you can always hop a freak train.
Mayor, what's your experiences with Der Dutchman, Union County?
Yeah, it's been many years since I've been there. I'd love to go back. It's a great place to take your family, and if you've got young kids, I would definitely take them along as well. But I love that how they put everything out in front of you, and you just pass it around. And I think for most of us, that doesn't happen nowadays.
No.
And to have that experience and to do that, and real butter, I'm used to margarine, so
Yeah, well.
I don't know much about real butter.
Real butter's better for you.
I
See,
am sure
I was
it
just
is.
going to ask you that. Is real
Not
butter
only-
better for you?
Not only
Yes.
better, it's more tastier. It has
Yeah.
more flavor.
Yeah.
And if you put it on a lemon, you'll live forever. Right, George?
Oh, come on.
Fritz, tell me about Union County, your experiences over the years.
It's been ages and ages. I just remember it favorably and fondly. Just haven't been around. Don't get around much anymore. Good title for a song. But and as for real butter, I grew up in Wisconsin and never had churned butter in my life. Even though, as I say, we lived around, there was a lot of dairy going on, but it was always. And then, of course, later on, probably one of the few people that still remember when you would buy margarine, it was white, it came in a plastic bag, and there was a little pellet in there that you had to pinch, and that would color the margarine so it would look like butter. But apparently the butter lobby wouldn't allow margarine originally to be butter colored, so you had to color it yourself at home.
farmers were afraid that you would buy margarine
Margarine, yeah.
colored instead of real butter. So you had to color it yourself. Yeah, those were the days.
And I sidetracked you from Union County. I returned you
No,
to
the
regularly scheduled subject.
the butter lobby, they're just right up there with the NRA in Washington.
Oh, yeah.
They drop the
Now, I know you've all been to the Ohio State Fair. Have you ever seen the butter cow?
butter cow.
the
Yeah,
butter
sure.
cow, yes, the butter
What do
cow.
you think they make that butter cow out
Oleo.
Butter, they make it out of butter, George.
of? Churned butter.
Yeah.
Churn butter.
Yeah, they put that together in that refrigerated area. They take churned butter, make that
Yeah.
cow. It's beautiful to specimen. It's nice to walk by there and see that.
Well, you've seen the butter cow, because I
Oh,
know
yeah.
at WBNS you've been down there a lot.
Sure.
What do you think of the butter cow coming from Wisconsin, cheese capital of the world?
I think it's a terrific idea, and my compliments to the chef to think that somebody can create that out of a substance that is as malleable and non-permanent as butter. Got to hand it to the artist.
Doesn't butter melt?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but
It's
the,
kept
the
refrigerated.
main thing in that butter cow at the Ohio State Fair is the temperature inside. When they're putting that together, it has to be so it hardens, so it be firm. That's all.
Mayor, going to the Ohio State Fair, I'm sure. What do you like about county fairs? They've really survived over the years, and I mean, we have a great one here in town.
You know, I grew up going to the county fair. I used to take sheep and hogs to the fair, so it was a part of my life growing up. My brothers and I used to do all that. And you still have those activities taking place, but I think it's the local farmers and their families that really make a county fair what it is today, and I hope that tradition never leaves us.
Well, if you go to the county fair, I went last year, the Marion County Fair, it's the best preserves you're going to find anywhere. You're not going to go to a grocery store or a restaurant and get the preserves that those people put up in their family recipes from years and years. I mean, the jams and jellies, I love that part of the fair. We're going to go into the mailbag this week. We are leaving on a trip next week. I would like to leave our dog at a kennel, but my wife insists that we pay for a dog sitter to stop by 2 or 3 times a day to take care of it. She thinks a kennel would be too traumatic for the dog. I think it will do just fine. That's Bob in Delaware. Brenda, what do you think about this dog?
Well, sounds like a pampered dog. But, you know, probably they're better off around other animals, but maybe they need to take them a time or two to acquaint them with the facilities and the owners and whatever, and see how that goes before they think about putting them out there in a kennel.
I don't know. I guess people do have somebody come around 2 or 3 times a week, but what if something happens when they're not there?
That's right. What if the house catches fire and they lose their precious dog?
It catches fire,
Yeah.
or a flood,
Oh, yeah.
or somebody tries to steal this dog. This dog might be worth big money. I wonder if they included their address. Fritz, what do you think?
Well, we've done both and have had good results, both leaving the dog at home with a dog sitter who would stop in a couple of times while we were gone, and also leaving him with a professional kennel. We've had 2 dogs who both of whom did both things and didn't seem the worse for wear in either situation.
George, I think this all comes back to, do dogs have feelings? Because this lady, I assume, is saying that her dog is not going to like being in a kennel. Can dogs like or dislike things like that?
They adjust. Dogs adjust. On the news at the WMRN, WDIF, the other ones, I heard just yesterday that 3 different people have let dogs out on the street.
I heard that.
And it was on the radio, and I disagree with that, because at the Marion, what is it, the Marion Kennel?
Humane
Dog
Society.
kennel?
The Humane Society. They offer, if you don't want your dog, just take it over there. They will, no charge. They will take your dog and take care of it. But why would people drive around and just leave the dog on? I don't understand that. But dogs will adjust. Like we've had, I don't have dogs, I have cats. I have 2 beautiful cats, Osprey and Marlboro. Marlboro in Greek is black, and Osprey in Greek is white. So our cats are black and white, Marlboro and Osprey. And we have taken them to the kennel, and we have a sitter too, and they both equal out.
Mayor, can a dog Does a dog really know where it's at? I mean, if you take it to the kennel, is it gonna just throw its hands up and say, ugh?
Well, you know, it's interesting. You watch some of these shows and some of these movies. I watched a movie with my 7-year-old daughter the other day about a dog. The family lived in somewhere down south. They had to move to New York City, and the dog made its way to New York City. We've heard of those stories before. So I think a dog does know where it is, and I think a dog does know what it likes. Some dogs will eat certain kinds of dog food and not others. So, but I would still have the grandparents come by and take care of the animals while you're on vacation. That's what we do.
Do you have to pay the grandparents?
Well, we don't have to pay them, but, you know, bring them something back nice.
Yeah, there you go. Charlie, what do you think?
That's the same way.
Yeah.
Putting a dog in a kennel would make the dog a little nervous. And yes, they do have feelings. They know where they're at. They know who's taking care of them. A dog is a very smart animal. But having someone come every day to take care of the dog would be the way to go.
You think so? Are you against kennels?
No. There are, of course, some kennels where your dog would come back with fleas and smell pretty bad. Other kennels would come back in perfect shape. So it's, you know, I'd rather have somebody come in.
I think it becomes a financial situation for some people.
Well, yes.
Well,
it's no cheap thing.
Well, you know, my mom has a dog that if you leave it alone, even if you have somebody come feed it, it won't do it while the person's there feeding it, but it'll chew up things.
Exactly.
Shoes, pillows,
Yeah.
because it doesn't want to be alone.
Exactly. They do that. That's a typical dog. Would chew anything he can find if left long enough.
So do you put it in the kennel? Because even when the person comes, it's still doing that.
I don't know. I don't think it'd chew so much if some relative or somebody that the dog knows would come every day and take care of it.
Do you ever give any thought to the idea that people live longer who have pets?
Oh, I would
Do you think
they
that's
would.
true?
Sure.
What do you think, George?
Pets live longer?
No, people. People live longer who have pets. Am I talking into the wrong ear?
Yeah, this is the best deal.
Okay.
Anyway, yes, I think that helps. I think really that helps. But may I say something about dog tags?
Go ahead.
My wife is in charge of dog tags for Marion County, and I go with her when she sells tags in LaRue, Prospect, Caledonia, and it's amazing how many people in this county, Marion County, you would not believe. I don't want to give you a number because I don't know the exact number, but you wouldn't believe the thousands of dog tags that the Marion County Auditor's Office sells every year. It's amazing. And I wouldn't know that if I don't go with my wife, but I go when she goes to LaRue or Caledonia. It's dark, and I always go with her.
How do you get to LaRue? No.
Go
Brenda,
past Whirlpool.
do people live longer who have pets?
They claim that is true. I know that pets are good therapists because I bring pets into Primrose to see our residents frequently, and many of them had animals when they were in their own homes, and so when I see them reach down and pet and love and hug on them and see the smiles on their faces and just kind of see the lines ease away, I think that's probably true.
Mayor, do you think there's a correlation?
Absolutely. I think when you're happy, you release those endorphins in your body, and if a pet makes you happy, I really do think people live longer if they have a pet and have a relationship with their pet. It's a good one.
Fritz, wrap us up on this one.
I think it can go either way. I've got an aunt who's turned 100 this past January, never had an animal in her life. But on the other hand, my parents had pets all of their lives, and they lived a long time. So,
What's your aunt's secret? Have you ever asked her?
I think it's just all of the Sicilians that came over on that side of the family have lived long.
Does she eat a lot of Italian food?
Yeah.
And lived
she
to
was-
100?
Well, but she was a dietitian. Actually, she was for Swift Company what Betty Crocker was to General Mills. She was Martha Logan for Swift Meats on television out in California, and so she was a dietitian and an educator on food and so forth like that. So she had a pretty broad diet, but she knew a lot about food. Home economist, that was what her major was in college.
Is she still out in California?
Yeah.
Oh.
La Quinta.
Yeah, hey, that's a great name. That's a great bit of history. If you have a question for the mailbag, you can join us on Facebook under the name The Exchange Marion, or email them to us at irmcommunication@gmail.com, or you can give me a call, 740-387-4649. We'll all be back tomorrow to wrap up the week on Friday. Take care and make it a good one.